The Suzuki GS 500 has been the best-selling motorcycle in Germany for years, and now is back on in town with some new features, but also with some fierce competitors. How is it? Suzuki waited for the time to be ripe, and put the GS 500 twin-cylinder naked, a bestseller of a few years ago, back on the market, suitably revised and corrected. The formula of the naked Japanese is simple but well targeted, which satisfy the motorcyclist without affecting his wallet too much. The GS really has what it takes to leave even the most demanding eye satisfied. Compared to the progenitor, little has changed, both aesthetically and technically. The tail, now more elongated and sporty, the tank, more capacious, and the carburetors, whose diameter has increased to 34 mm. A few things, but it's beautiful like this, with its round chromed headlight and the visible frame like a villain. Even the saddle, very inclined, and covered in a technical-looking material, tastefully conveys the idea of being in front of a gun motorbike. In fact, everything contributes to emphasizing the sporty air of our bike, including the rear disc brake. Its aggressive appeal is precisely one of the flagships of the GS 500 when it comes to defeating a formidable competition, which has Kawasaki R5 and Honda CB 500 as standard bearers. It's more difficult to keep up with the comparison when it comes to technique. The 2 valves per cylinder and the air cooling are indicators of an outdated project, but which demonstrates on the road that it still has a lot to say. Too naked. One of the most fascinating details of our Suzuki is undoubtedly the double steel frame, but it looks so much like a double lateral beam that proudly frames the engine. After all, the Japanese twin-cylinder does not hide its charms in any way, and it does not offer any aerodynamic protection that could favor ride comfort. In short, it's small, light, only 167 kilograms, but it's truly a tough guy bike, as evidenced by the instrumentation reduced to the essentials and controls that make some resistance, the gearbox and especially the clutch. However, the reduced weight and the low height of the saddle, which is 790 mm, make the GS usable by motorcyclists of all levels, ideal for the female public and novice drivers. The taller ones will suffer instead, forced into a two-crouch position. Similar speech for the passenger, of any size, who will find himself a little too high. Yesterday's Vanguard. The air-cooled two-cylinder inline engine is evidently far from cutting-edge from a technical point of view, but it seemed to us to be in good enough shape to have fun on a bike of this type. The same goes for the suspensions. The rear shock absorber is good, stiff at the right point. The fork is less satisfactory, set a little too soft, especially if you intend to take the bike to the limit. On the other hand, as far as the appearance both gritty and captivating, it should be remembered that the GS 500 is not a true sports car, and not only because it doesn't deliver the cavalry of a Persian army, but also because many of the elements that characterize it are not suitable for aggressive riding. The rear brake, for example, has a long stroke and is very progressive. How are you? Be careful, the GS costs like a scooter, but it's not. That is to say that you have to let it warm up for a couple of minutes to start without jerks. The rumble that comes out of the Crim 2-in-1 is pleasant to hear, not particularly dark, but full, more and more guttural as you rev up, until it becomes a muffled scream above 10,005s. Featherweight. Strengthened by its lightness, the Suzuki is as agile as a bicycle, an extremely enjoyable value in the city and in mixed terrain. At low speeds, the Japanese twin-cylinder cannot do much, and if a feline leap is demanded, when exiting a bend, you have to resign yourself to downshifting. However, it responds better than some competitors equipped with 4 valves per cylinder, and this makes you think. In any case, the real grit is not seen before 5,000 rounds per minute, while it is only after 7,000 that the little one, from Hamamatsu, becomes a little demon. Insane mileage. 41 HP provided can therefore be sufficient to have fun. Those who do not deign to drive a two-wheeler if it does not have at least twice as much should take this into consideration. After all, consumption also rewards the GS, which, even in the urban cycle, allows dizzying distances, much higher than 20 km with a liter of green. Is it fast? The top speed is also more than decent. The speedometer reads 195, but the real 180 seems a much more reliable figure. But this, rather than a motorcycle to wring your neck from, seems like a good way to get around the city regardless of the traffic, such as for a Sunday outing, or a short trip from the city to the sea. Those who expect more from a two-wheeler will have to opt for a Toro other dimensions, and unfortunately for him, other prices. Thanks for joining Lasray's TV, see you soon.